Welcome to Standard Deviation.
Hello.
Hello.
Why did we start doing that? Where did that come from?
I have no idea.
I think
just
it was
saying. Yeah, I think it was just saying hello in a bastardized Russian accent.
Yeah, it is. Hello.
Hello. Apologies to our millions of Russian listeners out there.
Yeah. Hey, one day we might have millions of Russian listeners.
Just say it.
You don't think
People
so?
have no reason not to believe us.
Yeah, we do have millions of Russian listeners already.
Yeah. I think they're bots.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Of course. Bots are people too.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
It's not fair because bots aren't people.
It's been a while.
It has been a while.
It's been a while.
Today is Thursday, January 28th.
Yes.
2021.
Since we last talked, there was a new year. There was a coup.
There was a coup.
We got an inauguration, which was fortunately extremely boring.
Yeah.
What other big things happened? I feel kind of stupid like talking about these big things because it's like
Everybody knows.
yeah, everyone knows,
Yeah.
and you know, last year and I'm sure this year is going to be the same. It's just like one thing after another. It's
Yeah. Well, I mean, I sometimes I think about it for the future, you know, like when I go back and listen to podcasts from like years ago, it's interesting to hear them talk about what just briefly even what they're doing. Like I was watching an old Graham Hancock, Joe Rogan episode, and it was apparently right when Trump was elected, and they were talking about how this might be the end of the world, and, you know, and I was like, yeah, you guys were more right than you knew, you know.
yeah,
This is 4 years ago.
right. But we can't pretend like that's happening now because
No.
it did not happen now.
Yeah, it did not.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's still to be seen what the repercussions of the pandemic will be.
Oh, that's true. I didn't mention the pandemic though.
Yeah, that's the thing too. There's a pandemic.
That happened like last year though.
Yeah, we're balls
Is
deep
there
in the
really a
pandemic?
pandemic?
Right now.
Well, that's another thing. Vaccines have been rolling out, which is
Yeah.
good. Like I actually know people who have gotten it, mostly healthcare workers and
Yeah,
boomers.
I saw yesterday here in Oregon there was a snowstorm, and some people medical crew was stuck on the highway with vaccines that had a 6-hour expiration window, and so they just started going car to car to the other people stuck in the snowstorm and just administering vaccines in the middle of the road, which is pretty cool.
That's kind of awesome.
Yeah, this one guy was so excited he just jumped out and like tore his shirt off. He's like, give me the vaccine. they were.
Have you heard the stories about vaccines, actually expiring on the shelf because distribution is
Yeah.
so shit?
Yeah, did you hear about the pharmacist that deliberately destroyed 500 doses?
No.
Yeah, this is like day one. He left them out overnight on purpose because.
Sorry to everyone listening. My fat obese cat just tried and failed to jump up on the table. This poor cat, she's 14 years old, and she's full of
Fat.
love, and she's obese, and she just wants to be wherever we are. And her back legs are giving out, and she's just not very good at jumping anymore.
Oh, that poor thing.
And I swear to God, she actually gets embarrassed by these things. Like, like she'll jump and fail. She'll just run out of the room.
Or walk slowly in shame. Just waddle out.
Are you okay?
Fuck. Anyway, so there was a pharmacist. Cat talk.
Cat talk.
Yeah, and apparently this guy he thought the pandemic was a hoax and that the vaccines were tracking bots, and he just didn't want to distribute tracking bots so the government would know where everybody was. And this is a real pharmacist, you know.
Oh, do you know there's a significant, like, I am pulling the statistic out of my ass, don't quote me, but something like a third of healthcare workers that refuse to get the vaccine.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Like a huge amount.
Well, I mean, I would imagine a lot of those are just waiting because the thing about vaccines is that the anti-vaxxers have kind of really muddled the intellectual landscape. But vaccines can be harmful, and with any technological innovation, it's kind of smart to usually wait a while and see how it plays out before
But
you
isn't
jump
that
in.
what clinical trials are?
Yeah, but they can only cover so much, especially when they're rushed, you know. I mean, like I do the same thing with like iOS updates. Like if my phone has an update, I don't install the update immediately. I wait at least a day or two because sometimes the updates will just wreck something, and I don't want to be in that first wave. So it could be like that.
I actually met a nurse who was anti-vaxxer recently.
Really?
Yeah.
Weird.
We're just one person. It's anecdotal. I'm not saying that that's the reason why these healthcare workers are refusing to do it. But yeah, I actually met.
Did she explain her case?
She's okay. So it's really funny. She's like, oh, I'm not getting the vaccine. I never, vaccinated my kids or anything. And I was like, what? Why? And she looked at me embarrassed and said, I'm a conspiracy theorist.
Wow. Well, at least she's honest about it. And at least she's embarrassed.
Yeah.
What does she think the conspiracy is?
I don't know. I didn't get into it with her because, like, I didn't want to, like, I had just met her. I wasn't trying to, start a contentious conversation,
Sure.
because I think that's crazy.
Yeah.
And I also don't like to just, like, smile and pretend stupid things people say are okay. So just like, all right, I just kind of change the subject.
Interesting. Conspiracy.
Yeah. But yeah, she actually's like, I'm one of those conspiracy theorists. It's like,
wow.
All right.
And she was like a registered nurse, like an RN?
Apparently, yeah. She was a little wacky. She was like a friend of a friend. And she was someone I met. And like, we were, the three of us, me and our mutual friend, were hanging out. And then we were going to another location. And I went in the car with my friend. And this other woman took another car. And I was like, is she drunk? And my friend just laughed immediately. She's like, no. She's always like that.
Wow.
So she was just like, she kind of like,
kooky.
Yeah, exactly. Just like her motions seemed like kind of sloppy and like almost like she was like slurring and like not very well put together and like wild, fun to talk to. But I was just like,
it's because she's never been vaccinated.
Did she knock back a few? And I was like, no, apparently she's just one of those people. It's always like that.
Wow. Okay, so that's interesting. A third, or you weren't sure if it was a third, but a large number of healthcare workers.
Yeah,
so.
I'd have to ask my friend. Well, I'd have to just look it up myself, I guess.
Yeah, healthcare stats always kind of scare me, I just remember a couple of years ago I read that I think it was 20% of diagnoses are wrong. So if you go to the doctor 1 in 5 times, they're wrong. And when I told my doctor that, he was surprised it wasn't more. And like ever since
then...
then...
there's the replication crisis, too.
Yeah, that's... I remember that started in psychology like 6 years ago, and then it just spread to all the sciences. Like nothing, all these studies can't be replicated. So that's something. Yeah. And that kind of shit really doesn't help those of us who believe in truth.
Right.
The whole postmodernist movement is gaining steam with bullshit like that. You know? They have a point. It turns out sometimes. Kind
of. You don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater, though.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, it's definitely the case that expertise is no longer respected. And frankly, I think it's about time, really, because a lot of expertise is expertise with scare quotes. It's not real.
Scary, though.
Yeah, it is scary because, I mean, I still think most of the time the experts are still, like, if you're going to trust anybody, that's who you trust.
Right.
Not always, though.
If it's a choice between an expert and your Uncle Bob.
Yeah. Hey, my Uncle Bob's pretty smart.
Right. No offense to our millions of Uncle Bob listeners out there.
I remember in Terminator 2, that was the Terminator's alter ego, Uncle Bob.
Oh, yeah.
They'd show up places, and they're like, who the fuck is this giant Austrian robot man? Oh, it's Uncle Bob. Yeah. Terminator. I was watching the Sarah Connor Chronicles, the TV show, and it was pretty good. It's pretty interesting, pretty entertaining. Mm-hmm. It was back when Summer Glau was coming up. She was the weirdo in Firefly.
Okay.
She plays the Terminator.
Oh.
Yeah. I wonder what happened to her. She had potential, that one.
A woman played the Terminator?
Yeah. She was a woman Terminator. A Terminatrix.
All right, we found the title for our podcast.
But yeah, she was a good actress and good dancer too. They worked in some dancing in there. I forgot she had done ballet, but she's kind of weird. I think she got typecast kind of because she played a robot and then she played that weirdo in Firefly that was practically a robot. Anyway, that was a while ago.
So, GameStop,
GME.
This is the current thing that I would like to talk about.
Meme stocks.
So, how to explain meme stocks to anyone who doesn't know. The rundown is basically Gamestop, which is a brick and mortar place where you buy video games, was, I believe, the most shorted stock in history. And what that means is a lot of people were putting a lot of money into short selling it. So how short selling works is you have a broker, you have a short seller, and you have a buyer seller. So the short seller borrows stocks from the broker, assuming that the stock is going to go down in price. That person sells the stock to someone at market, and then when the price goes down, that person buys it back, gives the stocks back to the broker, and keeps the difference. So that's how they make money. So people, understandably thought GameStop, like no one's going into GameStop anymore. Everyone downloads video games online. So, you could look it up and see which stocks are shorted the most, and that was the biggest one. So Reddit, particularly a subreddit called Wall Street Bets, where it's a pretty entertaining subreddit. I've been following it for a while. They just make Wall Street bets, and they do stupid, irresponsible, risky shit. And then they lose their money, and they post screenshots of it, and they talk about loss porn. Like, wow. They just make jokes about it. And like, it's hard to tell how many people are serious or not, but there's lots of talk of like, fuck it, I was gonna save up for a down payment on a house, but I'm just gonna YOLO into this stock. like that sort of thing. And some people do well, like they love the Tesla stock. I've seen like millionaires made out of that because they just put all this money in. They're making risky bets, which means there's going to be a lot of loss, and there's going to be some people that come out big because big risk, gives you big rewards sometimes. Anyways, so GameStop got their attention, and the early adopter, the most famous person who went in on this, was a Redditor named Deep Fucking Value, who put supposedly his life savings, I don't know if it was life savings, but I know it was $50,000 into GameStop in 2019. And it's very funny to go back to 2019 and read his posts because people are laughing at him and calling him a fucking idiot, which I would too,
Yeah. Yeah.
And somehow this stock gained momentum. I'm not really sure exactly. I think it was just one of those things, like people realize that, hey, this is the most shorted stock. So what happens is if enough of people buy into it, the price of the stock goes up, and these short sellers who were betting on the stock going down have to pay out to give their stocks back to the broker at whatever price it is when their contracts expire. So that's what's happening now. That's why the stock is going up. It's booming. People are buying in, which is driving the price up. Short sellers are being forced to sell, which is driving the price up. And people are making lots of money and losing it. It's very volatile. Yesterday was a hot day. I think it went up to 500 a stock, I think.
I don't know.
A share? A stock. 500 a share. I have money in it, so I've been like every day getting up, watching. I got to plug this guy because he's awesome. It's something like Bruce's comments on the stock market. Every day he's like this boomer, and he's super lovable, and like every day he just gets there and he just talks for the entire duration of the hours of the Wall Street, and he's really informative. He's just a commentator. He doesn't own any stocks in anything apparently, so he's supposedly unbiased in that way. And he's really cool to listen to. So I've just been listening to him and then watching another live stream showing just the live feed of what the stock is doing. And yesterday was awesome. The day before that was awesome. It was closing like $100 plus per. What am I trying to say? $100 more per share every day. Like it was just going up and up and up. And then today it crashed quite a bit. It went down. This morning it went up to, again, I think 500, or at least high 400s. And then it just started crashing down to, I think 140 was the lowest, or maybe 120, something around there. And then it kind of went up a bit, and then for the rest of the day, it just kind of plateaued around like 210, 240 or whatever. And what happened is Robinhood, Webull, I believe E-Trade, and a few other platforms, pretty much all the platforms people use to trade, started banning people from buying GameStop. We're letting them sell it, and in Robinhood's case was even selling it for the people at market price. Yeah.
Selling it for them?
Yeah. People that were holding stocks, they sold it.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know how many people they did this to, but apparently they have.
They canceled a ton of my orders.
Yeah. And yeah, you can't trade with them. And so it drove the price down so that short sellers can get out at a lower price. And it just kind of plateaued there. And I have been fucking livid all day. I'm so mad. It is so fucking wrong. Because hedge funds are still allowed to trade on this. Yeah. They can still do what they're doing. So
did they issue like Robinhood, for example? Did they provide any explanation? Like, did they reference their terms or something, or
I saw a tweet and a link to a blog. I was too mad to read it. I heard this has all just happened today, and so I think a lot of more information is going to come out in the next couple days. But I heard a couple things. I heard one big hedge fund made a deal with one of the platforms, like a bunch of short sell deals right before they started banning people from it. So that's shady as fuck. And I've heard that it isn't necessarily the platforms themselves that had to stop it. It was whoever was behind, like, who? Probably
the SEC. Securities.
No. SEC is like kind of who, like.
It's the governmental body.
Yeah, they would investigate it. But whoever is behind a broker to like their insurance, like who would have to pay out if. Oh. I don't know. One of the fun things about all this is like I have limited understanding of the stock market, but I've been learning a lot just watching this. And obviously, there's still a lot I don't know. But one couple hopeful things. So every day, this guy Deep Fucking Value, I think I kind of trailed off on him. He yesterday was at a high of $48 million. Still holding.
Damn.
I was actually checking his numbers. I thought he was just holding his whole stock, and then I looked a little bit closer and I realized he's selling. He has like about 50,000 shares, and he was selling around like 1 to 300 a day, barely skimming from it, still keeping like a huge majority of it. So yeah, yesterday he was at an all-time high of 4,800. Today was brutal.
Million.
Sorry, yeah.
Whoa. All-time high of 4,800. All right, next topic.
48 billion, sorry. So, yeah, every day he posts these screenshots of where he's at. He's super inspirational on Reddit. Like, he's great for morale. Every time he posts something, there's a giant thread of just thousands of people saying, if he's still in, I'm still in. And like today was just so brutal. I was so mad all day. I was freaking out just watching this like graph. And it closed, I think, at like 197. Last I checked, the closing trades are up to 260, so it's good. But then Deep Fucking Value posted something today. He's down 14 million, but he's still holding.
Down from his high.
Yeah, down from his high since yesterday.
But still up.
Oh, yeah.
26 million.
Yeah, exactly. He's still way up and didn't sell. And so great for morale. So that was like comforting to see for me personally, and tons of Redditors too. And also, everyone across the political spectrum thinks what happened today is bullshit. I saw tweets from Ted Cruz, like Elizabeth Warren, Donald Trump Jr., AOC, Ben Shapiro, Elon Musk. Like, everyone thinks this is bullshit. Yeah. So I feel like they're going to get the pressure to knock this shit out. Webull did come back. Like, Webull was restricting it, and then they came back. And so I wonder, total speculation, I don't know, if they just made a deal to just halt it for a bit.
Whatever it is, it seems shady as hell.
Oh, yeah. It is bullshit, and it pisses me off.
What's crazy to me is that when I logged into Robinhood to check everything out, it actually, like, the specific stocks that I placed orders on, all of them are, quote, not supported by Robinhood.
Yeah.
They were yesterday when I placed the orders, and now they're not. And I've never heard of a stock being not supported by Robinhood.
Yeah.
That's what's crazy, is that they're not banning individuals, they're banning stocks because of what groups of individuals are doing, which is a market. Like that,
yeah,
they're banning a segment of the market that they're supposedly there to serve. Like their whole purpose, especially
they're called like Robinhood.
Right? The whole point. Like, it's a brazen name, and they need to live up to it. The point is that they're supposed to be equalizing access to the stock trading for people like Redditors who are taking tips from each other, and
right, because that's where millennials and Gen Z are trading is Robinhood.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
that's
and so
huge.
then they're like, oh, sorry, it's too much trading, so we're just gonna stop.
Yeah, I think I read that half of Robinhood users had stock in GameStop.
I'm not surprised. I had to place multiple orders to get one to go through, and because of that delay, now I'm at a loss because it took like 2 days to get an order through.
Right.
Because they kept canceling it, and then the stock crashed. I'm the one guy at a loss on GameStop. You know,
You're not the one guy. Trust me. I mean, there are people obviously buying at 500 today. So
yeah, God, it's crazy. What a weird world we live in.
I was just sweating all day, breathing into a bag. But I'm holding tight. I got my diamond hands, and I'm gonna see how this plays out. I am not going to let them scare me. This is personal now. Okay, so there's one thing I know about stock trading is that
it's personal.
Personal.
you gotta go on
and
emotion.
You gotta run on your fucking emotions. It's about what's in your heart. So I'm in the right.
Because it's what's in your heart. Yeah.
That's right. You heard it here first, folks. Investing, it's about what's in your heart.
It's all about emotions.
Mm-hmm. But there's still $50 million worth of shorts that need to be paid out. It's unclear when they, need to be paid out. I don't think there's public information about that. A lot of it's just speculation. The squeeze, I think, is going to go on through next week. Friday, tomorrow is kind of a big day because there's a lot of call options that are due, so that will be a big deal. But yeah, this is unprecedented. There was a Volkswagen big squeeze like 2008 or something when Porsche took over with them. And people, that's the only thing we really compare it to. But that was so different. They weren't retail traders then,
Yeah, there was no retail trading then, or I mean, not on this scale,
right?
Because that was back when if you wanted to make a trade, it was like $6.
Mm-hmm.
I used to trade stocks, and I would pay $6 a transaction.
Oh, that
was
was
2008.
Well, I was pretty recently trading at that amount on E-Trade,
really?
yeah.
Oh, on E-Trade, yeah. Robinhood came out around 2014, I think, with free trades.
Oh, it was free.
Yeah.
So how do they make money?
I don't know. I think they actually have an article about that. In fact, I think that's in the FAQs. How do you guys make money if you're trading for free? And they're like, oh, we do shady backroom deals with hedge funds and ban stocks.
Fucking hell.
Apparently.
You know what I did?
What?
You know what I fucking did?
Which?
I downloaded Robinhood and I gave them 1 star.
Oh, shit.
And then I deleted it.
Oh, my God.
So... Good luck, Robinhood.
It has been a pretty cool service, and I will read whatever their statement is about this, just in case there's some explanation. Yeah, because there may be, but if not, man, this is super not cool.
Someone did screenshot a part of their terms that said we reserve the right to refuse any trader, but we have to give them written warning first.
Right, and that's refusing a trader, not a stock. They've flipped the whole thing upside down.
Yeah,
like being banned from the platform is one thing, but for them to ban a stock is something else entirely. And it's not just one; it's all the meme stocks. Mm-hmm. They're just not supported.
Yeah,
It's crazy, and especially I'm really curious. Okay, so let's say this sticks, and they have some justification, or even just a justification strong enough to stick. This makes me wonder about the future of the stock market, because the whole thing is always flimsy and stupid. It's a big fiction. It's a big make 'em up, to use your terms.
Right.
And it's just layers of abstraction piled onto each other to manipulate and play around with like a game, and that's all it always is. And the stock market is not the economy, and that's an important distinction that a lot of people are learning these days, because the economy is doing terrible,
right,
and the stock market is doing great.
Yeah,
and that just illustrates what a bubble is, But this whole thing makes me wonder, if the future of the stock market would have been meme stocks. For this to have taken off like it did, I saw 5,000% profit or 5,000% increases in GameStop stock in the last week.
Yeah. And when Weeble opened up again, there was an obvious uptick.
Yeah.
Immediately.
Yeah. So this was poised to become the next version of the stock market. Is people on forums basically colluding to to profit. And what's crazy is that you could argue it's a pyramid scheme in a way, because it's kind of like an undirected pyramid scheme. It's like nobody's behind it. It's not a conspiracy. It's not a trick.
Right.
But if everybody buys a stock, then everybody makes money buying the stock.
Well, how is that different than just buying stocks in general?
Well, because it's more of a gamble with normal stocks. But if you know that this many people are definitely buying this stock, then just get in, ride a couple floors up like an elevator, and then get off, and you've made money. And what I'm curious about,
there's gonna. I mean, I think what you're saying is like, that people are gonna buy, and then there's gonna be an obvious crash, and then the people that bought at the top they lose out. But that's true for any stock.
But there doesn't have to be a crash, though. Is the thing. That's what makes this so weird.
Well, I don't think it's gonna sustain it.
But it could
500 or 1,000
if we didn't have meddling from the platforms that offer trades. I mean, why not?
Because I don't think the majority of people that are buying into this stock are holding long term.
Yeah, but you don't have to hold long term. I mean, you could day trade on this shit, and if enough people day trade, buy in, buy out, buy in, buy out.
Yeah, but I think a majority of people, I don't know, this is just my guess, is going to go in, and then when they think it's high enough, they're just going to get all out.
Yeah, but then more people will get in. This is what I'm saying, is that hypothetically, at least,
I think more people will sell at one point than buyers are buying in, enough to make the stock drop.
Yeah, that could happen. But regardless, to the broader point, this would have been the new stock market. Like whatever the stock market is normally doing would become kind of a backseat driver to the new trend.
I don't know about that, because this was a special case because GameStop was so shorted.
Right, but this could happen to any stock, though. That's the thing, is GameStop was shorted.
But they have to be as shorted as GameStop. Like, there's other ones like AMC and BlackBerry, which are also shorted, but not to the degree of GameStop.
They don't actually have to be shorted, though, for this to work. The more people buy a stock, the more the price goes up. So they could do this with any stock.
Okay, if we're just looking at it that way, then sure.
Yeah, and that's...
I'm just talking about the squeeze. Like, you can't squeeze
Yeah,
all
short.
stocks.
It wouldn't technically be a short squeeze, yeah. But the basic mechanism of the trend spreading like wildfire on the internet and more people buying in...
Yeah.
That...
It could. I mean, yeah.
I mean, that could create generations of wealth, or it could be a bubble,
Right.
It could destroy the world economy. This is the thing I don't think anybody can answer. Economists are kind of famous for having a lot of really elaborate math that concludes, I don't know.
Right.
And maybe that's why these restrictions are put in place, because people are very concerned. People with a lot of visibility and education about this thing might be concerned about, well, like anything else that's going on right now that could potentially cause...
Did I never start
I think it just stopped.
Did it?
Actually.
Let me try it again.
Yeah. I saw it do a thing. Anyway, I don't know. This is all pure speculation. I have no idea why they restricted the other than just high volatility, but that doesn't seem like a reason to restrict buying. So I'm curious what this means about the future of the stock market, and I'm very curious if this is going to stick. I'm certain lawsuits are already in the works.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's going to be class action lawsuits for sure. But, if they have hedge funds backing them, they might just get out of it and be fine, and that will be... very sad, because this is a very kind of romantic story that's going on right now, where it's a bunch of just...
It's the Robin Hood story.
Yeah, it's just a bunch of, like, normie people, like, just retail investors. Some just, like, random kids. Like, I mean, I have a lot of friends who have never touched stocks that have, like, put money down on this.
Yeah.
And they're squeezing money out of billionaire hedge funds.
Yeah. Yeah.
That knew the risk they were, doing when they shorted a stock. I mean, I'm sure they never would have guessed something to this level would happen, but that is the risk you take when you short a stock.
That's what makes it risk.
Right, exactly. And shorting a stock is so stupid. Like, I don't know if I should say it's stupid, but like it is so risky. And this is just a grand example of it. Yeah. Because you can lose so much more money than you would just normally buying a stock and it going down. Can
you sell out of a short sale before it expires?
I think so.
I would hope so. Because
I think you could do it whenever you.
That's good. Because I feel bad for people if they're just like sitting here this whole week like can't sell their shorts.
Well, these people are hedge funds.
Yeah, most of them. But there's also individual short selling.
It's true.
And the hedge funds. I don't know enough about hedge funds to issue broad decrees about morality and such. I mean, I just don't imagine everybody with money in a hedge fund is evil, you know?
Yeah.
But,
That's true. Yeah. I mean, there is definitely this like, fuck the rich
Right,
mentality. But you know, again, it's like, this is how they've participated in the market, you know, to say that, you know, individuals can't either. Like, that's ridiculous.
Yeah. Man, what a weird world.
Yeah. Strange times, man. Anyways, I'm excited to see what happens tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
What else we got?
Are you going to be on Webull and try and buy some, or?
I've never even heard of Webull until you mentioned it.
Yeah, I hadn't heard of it till today either.
It's a trading app
Yeah.
thing. Maybe. I don't know. Probably not. I just don't feel like getting into all this right now. It's a lot of headspace. I have my mind in lots of other places at the moment.
Yeah, it's pretty hard not to watch it. Like,
Yeah.
it's...
Yeah, I feel like if I actually put serious money into it, which I haven't done yet, then I would be obligated to understand what the hell I'm doing, you know, and keep track of it, which I really just don't have time for right now.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are kind of just throwing in a little bit and seeing what happens.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's pretty much what I did. And so far I've lost like 30%. Classic.
Damn it.
Man. Yeah.
So, yeah, what else?
What else?
I thought that would fill an hour.
Yeah, it didn't fill half an hour.
My anger has filled multiple hours.
If there's one thing you take from this audience, just remember, if you're going to trade stocks, go on emotion.
Yeah. Just follow your heart.
Just follow your heart. If anyone can't tell we're joking, then we're joking. Don't follow your heart.
And don't take any financial advice from this podcast, please.
No. Really don't take any advice from this podcast for the most part.
No advice, no facts.
No. We just speculate wildly.
Yeah.
I've been experimenting with newsletters recently.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Substack, right?
Yeah, on Substack, yeah. Yeah. It's interesting because they have this new platform. They're part of a broader movement. There's a trend of people finally finding ways to cut down on clickbait and to try to get away from this culture we have of just shitty information, controversial, divisive information, reported poorly, just to generate buzz. And one of the ways to get around that is Substack, which is no advertising. There's no advertising on the platform. And writers they post newsletters that are posted both on the site and through email, and they can charge for, you know, add-ons or kind of, it's like a freemium service. Like some people will charge for the podcast version of their newsletter, that kind of thing. Which is really cool because we really have to get away from the whole clickbait ethos, and this seems like a cool way to do it. So I've started, I don't know, like 4 newsletters, and none of which I'm going to plug right now because I'm not sure which I actually want to put any time into. But maybe we should start a standard deviation newsletter. I actually reserved the spot for it. What?
We can't even keep up with our podcast.
Yeah.
You're always wanting to pile on like extras when we can't even be regular with the podcast.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I guess all the time I would spend writing the newsletter, I should just be recording an episode. Maybe if we ever get back to like a high output, which was, I think our peak was like two episodes a week probably. Mm-hmm. Or maybe we did more at a certain point, but that was the highest we sustained. By the way, if anybody has an opinion out there, any listeners / viewers have an opinion about how often is ideal for episodes, I'd be curious to hear it. I think for the most part, consistency matters more than the actual schedule. But I've also heard that as far as scheduling goes, I think 2 to 3 times a week I think is ideal for most podcasts. So we should get back to that point. That'd be nice.
That'd be nice. I never told you what I did on New Year's.
What did you do on New Year's?
Okay, it's a pretty fun story. So I was in Hawaii with my friend, and we ended up staying at this really nice, I don't know if you call it a co-op or what. It was basically, the property was huge, like so big, like the main area where we checked in was a drive away from the little cabin we were staying in. So it was like giant farm. They had their own bamboo forest with like 15 different kinds of bamboo.
Wow, that's cool.
The biggest private waterfall in Hawaii. It was awesome. It was so beautiful. It felt very secluded, but it was only like 10 minutes near the closest town, 20 minutes from the airport. Like, it was so cool. And we ended up It was New Year's. We didn't really have any plans. Just me and my friend. You know, we weren't. It was, you know, still COVID, so we weren't like going to any ragers or anything. But then we ended up getting invited out with a couple guests. So it was like 2 couples, guy and a girl, and then me and my friend. And, you know, we had some drinks. A couple of the girls were like fire dancers. And so one of the guys like was kind of like, let's go out. Let's go like cause some ruckus and get in our 4-wheeler and drive out to town and just do some fire dancing. And he was definitely like the instigator because the girlfriends were like, fine. And me and my friend were like, yeah, like, because we really wanted to do something, but we didn't really have anything to do. And so at one point, this is very dangerous, I had one of the girls sit on the hood of the car with her like fire stuff, and we drove down the road, this like kind of empty like country road, as she was like doing like badass fire stuff. Like her face is very reckless and irresponsible.
Yeah.
But we drive out, and then at one point we park, and we're just kind of like sitting on top of the car, and we have like this view of like the horizon and just all these fireworks going off, and we're like drunk and playing music. And then at one point, one of the guys, the instigator guy, was like, I'm gonna play some country. And like he gets his phone out, and his girlfriend's like, no, David, no, give me the phone, David, you always do this, David, give me the phone. And then it starts playing, there's some hoes in this house, there's some hoes. It's a wet ass pussy song.
Oh.
And right when that comes on, all the girls are just like, what? And like, yes. And we're just like booty dancing on the roof of the car. Like, dude, if you want girls to go bananas, just put on that song. Like, all girls fucking love that song. Wow. All of them. All down to like, you know, good Mormon girls. They love it.
I don't even think I've heard the song yet.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're like dancing, and you know, it's a pretty empty road. There's probably a car going by once every like 10 minutes or so. And so at one point a car goes by, and you know, we're dancing on the road. So we like get out of the way, and the car drives by, and the guy is like, no, you can't. Don't get out of the way when a car comes. You need to stop them and start dancing and challenge them and serve them. You got to make sure that they get served. And we're like, that is ridiculous. But you know, he's really good at pumping us up. So like, finally, we're like, okay, the next car that comes by, we are not going to get out of the road. We're going to keep dancing. And so this car comes up, and it was like, we were just drunk enough to not be totally humiliated by this idea. This car comes up, and we were just standing our ground like dancing. And he goes over to the side to explain to them that they're getting served. So what happens is, and this was like amazing, this woman, she had to be in her 50s. She comes out of the car, and she's like, okay. And so we expected, you know, people would like, oh, maybe do a little dance with us or something, and then drive by. And so she was in this car, this Tesla, I think it was a Tesla, some really nice car. And then with her, I assume was her sons. It was like these 2 boys in like a 4-wheeler that were like maybe in their 20s. And she comes out to the front of the car, and her boys come out too. And then she's like, oh, okay, hold on, just give it a second. And all of a sudden, her car, it's one of those, you know, the doors that kind of open like wings? Mm-hmm. The car starts dancing. Like the doors open and flutter like a butterfly, and it starts flashing like these disco lights.
Oh my God.
And she starts like playing this music, just like, and it was crazy.
Wow.
Like the car served us. The funny thing was, I was standing next to these 2 boys, and like one of them had his arms crossed, and he was like, yeah, I kind of expected this would happen.
We saw this coming.
We knew this was going to happen, so we got this car just in case. And we're just standing there like wide-eyed with our jaws dropped, like, oh my God. And then they get back in the car, and we're just like bowing down, like, where are they? They drive by.
Wow.
So that was the first car we served.
Damn.
And so that really, that really raised our expectations. And so we were like, all right, next car, this is going to be awesome. And I swear every car after that was just like, same thing. We're like holding our ground, dancing. He went around to tell them that they're getting served. And then he'd be like, oh, no, don't, not this guy, no. Like no one else was playing. Like
No.
one was a guy that was like had a baby sleeping. He's like, fuck off.
Yeah.
And like everyone else was just like not about it. So
Jesus. That's what I would expect.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
you got lucky the first time. All right, listen, you're getting served. Let's just explain how this works. We're going to block the road, dance at you, and you're going to like it.
no, they had to dance back.
Right,
Yeah.
is that how they were released? It's a challenge.
It's a challenge.
You gotta
They're
step
getting
up.
served, yeah. So, yeah, that was my New Year's.
That's ridiculous.
It all went very downhill from there. It turned into like this weird sort of argument between one of the couples, and like I won't get into it, but it was one of those just like drunken screaming matches, and
Yeah.
then she was gonna walk home, and
Oh,
like,
God.
yeah, it was pretty bad. And of course, he was being obnoxious. He was not like, you know, making the situation any better, and
Right.
like I think what happened was the guy was driving recklessly. Like he was driving off as his girlfriend was trying to get in the car, and so he like tousled her around, and so she was like yelling like stop the car, and then she wanted to walk, and she was all pissed, and he's just like, I'm just being silly, you know. And she's just like, can you at least acknowledge that you are being reckless? And he's like, well, I'm just being silly, and like it just kept going on, and then finally my friend, she was like, David, his name's not David, I'm just using that name. It's like, David, just say I acknowledge. And he's like, I acknowledge. And she's like, okay.
Wow, there's a lesson there.
Yeah.
Damn. You had a pretty eventful New Year's.
Yeah, it was awesome. And then of course I had a flight the next morning and was terribly hungover, and it was not a fun flight, except I had first class, which meant I got to lie all the way down. It was a whole
Nice.
seat that lied flat. That was pretty awesome.
Do you know what I did on New Year's?
Nothing.
I hung out with the cats.
Oh.
Yeah. Usually they're more scared, you know, from the fireworks.
Oh yeah.
New Year's and 4th of July, they usually freak out and run down to the basement.
Yeah, they usually like I don't see them like
Yeah.
4th of July.
Yeah,
Like
they hide.
they're just like I'm like, okay.
Yeah, New Year's you're usually not here, but I am huddled down in the fur room with them in the
Aw,
basement.
that's
Yeah.
nice.
But this time they were pretty chill. I don't know why. They're just like they'd hear a bang and like look around. It's still weird to me that fireworks freak out animals.
Yeah, especially dogs.
Yeah, like when they're not even loud. Like the distant fireworks freak them out. I can understand if the fireworks are like on your block or like right outside your house, but even distant ones that aren't particularly loud, the bang just freaks them out.
Well, they have much better hearing than us, don't they?
Yeah, that's true, but I don't know. I just feel like they should be reacting to more noises.
If that freaks them out.
Yeah, if that freaks them out so much, or maybe it's the compounded effect, I guess, of just like repeated bangs. But it really is like they think they're in a war zone or something, you know, like they're having non-flashbacks. But it's just little pops, you know, like little pops, and they're scared. Anyway, they're cool this time.
That's good.
Yeah, this is a good story, huh? How long we got?
That was a great
All
one.
right, we got 18 minutes to go.
I mean, we can wrap it up here.
Yeah, we could. We might as well, since I really can't think of a single other thing to talk about. This one time I didn't bring my phone. Usually I have a backup plan. If we run out of shit to talk about, I'll Google difficult philosophical questions. I think I've only done it like once. But
All right.
I don't have my phone this time, so
Well, we'll try to get back in the groove of things again.
yeah.
Put out these weekly and try and keep up with current events because there's shit happening all the time.
Shit is happening.
Yeah.
That's a fact. All right, thanks everyone for listening.
All right.
And go to standardpodcast.com to sign up for our newsletter.
All right.
Bye.
Bye, guys.